Hey everybody, how's it going? Welcome back to the arena. So we've got a couple of things that we gotta discuss about Magic. So it's almost April. Well, it's midway to March, and we've got the new set coming out. So it's called Ikoria, Lair of Behemoths, and so we get whatchamacallums, we get spoilers or previews sometime around April 2, but Mark what's his face, Mark Rosewater, came out with a blog on Tumblr, saying that he'd been asking, people have been asking him about things of what's coming out in the new set, and so he has a list which we will sort of go over. I don't think we can go over all of it, otherwise the video will be like really long, but we'll see if we can do it in detail. So I might have to browse over some of them because I'm not super informed of all these other things, but I did do a little bit of research with this whole new set coming out. So um, first and foremost, he has a list of things that are what we can expect in Ikoria. So for one, it says we've got Magic's seventh egg. Now, at first, I was like, What is he talking about? Seventh egg? What is that? What is it supposed to mean?" And it turns out that over the years, Magic has been releasing, a bunch of these little eggs. They're called egg artifacts. You're probably familiar with one of them already if you've recently been playing, which is the golden egg from what's the Eldraine, from the Eldraine set that came out just last year, sometime September-ish. And so we're gonna go through these eggs just to, for the sake of discussion. And yeah, so in the previous years, previous sets, way before I was even playing Magic the Gathering, they've had these little egg artifacts, which basically all of them. Now I know what you're saying. There are a ton of eggs, so why is this one the seventh? Why is the one in Ikoria going to be only the seventh? There are a ton of eggs. There are dragon eggs, all sorts of eggs. Basically, there are a lot of eggs. So these ones, I will name them, is the dark water egg. So the dark water egg is basically just an egg that I'll show. If you can see it on screen, it's an egg. It's a black egg with a skull of some sort, of some creature's skull, biting down on it. And so it says that you can sacrifice the egg and add a black and white mana to your pool, and then draw a card. So that's one instance. I do believe that the golden egg only added one mana of any color, but then again, it does have a dual another function, which allows you to gain. You can eat it and you can gain 3 life. So then there was the Mossfire egg. So this one's also an artifact. If you can see it on screen, it's illustrated by a red egg that is coiled around by what looks like a snake of some sort, or some kind of worm. And it basically does the same thing that the dark water egg does. So you draw a card, and you can also add gruel colors, which is green or forest or mountain for some of you, to your mana pool. And then you've got the shadow blood egg, which also does the same thing. You draw a card, and these eggs were part of, I have no idea what set this was, but they came out in a huge bunch, in 5, a total of 5. So we've never seen these kind of eggs resurface until recently with the golden egg. And as Mark Rosewater hinted out, we will be seeing the 7th one in Ikoria, Lair of Behemoths. So yeah, the Shadow Blood egg, as you can see, is sort of like it looks like a dragon egg that's put on these little pedestals. And it gives you Rakdos colors. So swamp and mountain, you also draw a card. Sky Cloud, also the same, except that its image is, it looks like it's kind of like those Tesla coil things. It's also on a pedestal, and it's sort of like shooting out this jolt of electricity, but you're drawing out Azorius colors. If you sacrifice the egg, you can get blue and white mana, also draws a card. Sungrass egg is interesting because it is an emerald sort of egg that is on top of a flower, so it kind of looks like a lotus-ish egg with little swirls or circles. It has these patterns on it, and it's also glittering really nicely. And when you sacrifice this egg, you get to add forest and plains mana to your pool, and you also draw a card. So our sixth one is, like I said, the golden egg, which was an artifact slash food, so it has that double purpose where you can use it to add any 1 mana of any color to your mana pool, or you can sacrifice the egg and eat it, sort of, so to say, to gain 3 life. So there you have it. So this will be, it's just a little, trivia thing for the Wikipedias. So it'll be our 7th egg after all these years. Secondly, we've got, it says here, a card with the text 4 or more times this game. So we've seen this card on a couple of other, we've seen this sort of mechanic or text on a couple other things, like these what's it called, the Celebrants card, whatever. Now this isn't new to us, but it does give us a sort of a hint towards what we can expect. It just says a card with the text, so maybe it's just one, or he could be just like generalizing it that there will be some cards with this mechanic. I don't know. A card next we have down the line is a card with the text total power 10 or less. Now this isn't new to us either, but since I don't know, Mark felt like it was something important to acknowledge, so yeah, I guess well, the Ikoria Lair of Behemoths is supposed to be all about, the big creatures, the I don't know, the Godzillas of Magic. So total power 10 or less isn't going to be that hard to attain as a condition to meet. So yeah, and then our 4th one, we have Magic's largest power and toughness. Well, it says power / toughness granting aura. Now this is interesting, especially well, it's interesting, and it is also thematic, because in Ikoria Lair of Behemoths we are expecting behemoths. We're expecting, godlike creatures, as as Naya would put it. The gods of Naya are huge. They're not really gods, but they're deemed as gods because they're so huge. But we all know that the real gods live in Theros, and for some, the real gods are planeswalkers. So this is really interesting, because up until now, I actually thought the biggest one was the hammer, the that Colossus hammer thing. I thought that was big, but yeah, it could be bigger, could be something, Now our 5th one, it says a card with the text X is the number of times this creature has mutated. Now, where have we heard that? Well, okay, the Simic Combine during the Ravnica sets have this adapt keyword, and basically what that does is it mutates, quote unquote, not per se, but mutates, quote unquote, the creature, and turns it into something else. But this isn't the first time I've encountered mutated as a key word, which suggests that maybe it says X is the number of times this creature mutates, so that means that it can mutate probably several times in a turn, or maybe you can mutate it over and over, and then I don't know. If you can mutate it several times in a turn, does that mean that the mutated abilities can stack? So you can have it's weird. Okay, I don't know, because it says X number of times. There could be the only other time I've heard of mutations in a card game was in Hearthstone, and Hearthstone, which was sort of exclusive to the, if you're familiar with it, which is sort of exclusive to the shaman deck archetypes, and there you could, I think you could also have it on druids. In Hearthstone it was called adapt, so I believe, yeah, it was probably called adapt. I'm not really sure, I don't remember anymore, it's been years. And you could have multiple mutations on a creature, and I'm starting to think that maybe you could, this is what it's talking about, because it has X number of times that the creature can be mutated. I don't this is just purely speculation, but maybe it could be an activated ability that you can do per turn, and then it just adds up and adds up some more. Usually these mutations are things like, I'm guessing one of the keywords, like it has, well, trample, we have death touch, we've got lifelink, we've got hexproof. That's one hell of a mutation though. We've got protection, we've got all sorts of stuff. We've got first strike, we've got double attack, or is it double strike, I'm not sure. We've got a lot of keywords that can apply to this mutated keyword, and this is really interesting. So it really sets up the stage for what kind of behemoths we're going to be seeing, because if these creatures can mutate at a cost, I have no idea what it's definitely interesting to see. We will be seeing some radioactive level creatures in Lair of Behemoths. Now, it also says Magic's third and fourth card with 0 is even, which is as a reminder text. Now, I haven't done enough research to sort of go through what this is, what this means as the third and fourth. That means that there are two previously published cards with 0 is even. Now that I'm not new to this effect, because there you know, over in Hearthstone there was a mechanic where if you know, if you meet a certain number and it's even, you get this sort of result, or if it's odd, you get this sort of result. Now I don't know how that's going to apply specifically to Magic, but if it's in Ikoria, Lair of Behemoths, which is, I'm assuming, is going to be very creature heavy, then I'm going to assume that, you know, maybe in tandem with Mutations, you know, if it'll say stuff like, hey, if this creature goes on the board and you have an even amount of land, I don't know, I don't know, yeah, but it says 0 is even, so that could be pretty much anything. Maybe it could be like, it could be an enchantment that allows your creature to, you know, mutate, gain a keyword, I suppose. So I mean, there are creatures out there that have 0 power and have like 5 or 3 toughness, so that could be a thing, you know. If it could have death touch or something, or lifelink, if it mutates on you know, because 0 is even, because, you know, you get what I'm trying to say. Now that there will be our next one says 3 cards with the text different names. That's not new to us. There is actually, is it though? Oh wait, no, yeah, no. For me, it's not, because I've seen it in different, in other card games where one of the conditions, you get a result if you've put down like cards that don't have the same names, or if you put down a certain card type or creature type with different names, you get a result, and so you have that. This should be pretty interesting. Maybe we can start having more Anthem effects with this. It says 3 cards, so I don't know. It's only 3. He could be holding out. There could be more, but he could be just saying like there are 3 cards with this text. Next one says 12 different types of counters. Okay, now that's we do know, this is kind of weird. We do know that there are a whole lot of different counters. There's a lot. There's a lot of counters. All right, so apparently the +1/+1 counter form, that is considered as 1. That is 1 counter, which is known as graft, and many other things. Now the -1/-1, that's a different form of counter known as wither or persist. Then we've got +1 and +0 effects of counters, which is known as clockwork. And then we've got planeswalkers, the loyalty counters. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's 4. We have charge. This one I'm not so. Oh yeah, okay. So charge is the ones that we get from artifacts and some lands. Like what's that land that destroys? I forget. I'll put it post edit. But yeah, we do have that land that puts on counters if you charge them, right? We've got quests. Yes, we do. I'm not sure if quests include the sagas, because those are a different type of counter too. But yeah, so we I guess there are a lot basically, but I think what Mark Rosewater is trying to say is that in Lair of Behemoths there will be 12, a total of 12 different kinds of counters. So maybe not all of this will get in there, but this is just a few things that we can expect. Next one, we've got a card that says choose a kind of counter at random. So this runs in tandem with his previous statement, which says that there will be 12 different types of counters. Now, but this one says a random counter. So I don't know really how that's gonna work. Maybe we'll have creatures that will benefit from different kinds of counters. I don't know, but that's definitely interesting. A different form of benefit per counter on a creature. I don't know. A card with the text that says remove 8 foreshadow counters. Okay, so he just mentioned one form of counter right here, which is foreshadow. I really don't know what that means, but 8, if you have 8 foreshadow counters, then that means that this thing can really ramp up the counters. And a cycle that players have been asking us to make for over 10 years. Now, I did do my research on this. I did try to scour the depths of the internet for this cycle that people have been asking for over 10 years, and the general consensus seems to be pointing towards a land cycle, which is legendary lands. So people seem to be thinking that it is a dual, like it's a legendary dual land that you can fetch. The reason why it's legendary is so that you can fetch it and then put it on the board. Other I don't know if maybe it has hexproof because it's legendary. I don't know, maybe, but that's what people have been asking for, legendary lands. Because like there's so many uses. Kethis for one. So if you have, which allows you to cast legendary cards or legendary spells from your graveyard and put them onto the board for a certain cast for a certain cost. So there are things like that. There are mechanics like that in MTG that probably will reoccur in Lair of the Behemoths, and it's definitely an exciting time to be playing Magic, because this is a new cycle, and you know, for new players and old players alike. For new players, it's a new mechanic that they can explore. For old players, it's something that they've finally been getting. You know, they've been asking for it for years, and they're finally getting it. So yeah, I don't know how excited I should be about that, but I think that's something to look forward to. Then, in addition, we've got Ikoria creatures. What kind of types of creatures we'll be seeing? Now, dinosaur. It says here dinosaur turtles. That's not new. We've seen dinosaur turtles sometime before. Then shark beasts. Yeah, that's not new either. But there aren't a lot of them. Basically, is what I'm saying. Dinosaur turtles, shark beasts aren't a lot. You don't see a lot of those. Demon krakens, we have seen some demon krakens over in Theros. I'm not sure if we've seen any. We've seen them in Ravnica too. Not exactly sure if we've seen them in Eldraine. Off the top of my head, I don't think we have. Then there's Elemental Otter. That's cute. Elemental Otter. More elementals to any of you elemental fans. Then Bushwag. I don't know what that is. What's it? Okay, so I'm seeing. I searched it up, and it says. I'm seeing. I have no idea what this is. There's just one card that showed up, and it is. I will. You guys will get a taste of it, of what it looks like. But it kind of looks like a round creature covered with twigs. Like, I don't know, maybe it sort of snowballed into a bunch of twigs, and now it just covered itself all into this little ball of twigs, and it kind of looks like a, I don't know, like a bear, maybe a wolverine even. But anyway, yeah. Then we've got Helian Horrors and a Nightmare Squirrel. Hey, Nightmare Squirrels, yes. It says a squirrel in a standard Lego set. I guess we've never had squirrels, but this one's is Nightmare Squirrel. Anyway, so that's all that Mark Rosewater has to say, and oh, he has a little edit on the bottom. It says there are actually going to be 13 different type of counters in Lair of Behemoths. So yeah, that's kind of a lot for one set. That's a lot to speculate on, and I may touch on it a little bit more once we head into April, when we start getting these spoilers online. So yeah, I hope you guys learned something. I don't know. I hope you guys got hyped for it. I'll see you guys in the next video and next speculation. I hope you guys enjoyed.